1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine event. I'm not sure if it sounds weird. I hear this weird echo right now. I know I was fucking around with some rough drafts earlier, and now this shit sounds fucking weird. It sounds like there's crazy ambiance, crazy fucking... No, that can't be the case. But regardless of that, welcome. Welcome to episode 165. I was originally going to call this episode, Have You Ever Met Obama? Just because the other day a coworker asked me, had I ever met Obama? They hadn't. You would imagine that if someone's asking that question that they have met Obama themselves, but no, they did not. But they were curious if I had personally ever met Obama, which I hadn't. But we're not calling this episode, Did You Ever Meet Obama? This episode is called Yay 2024, ladies and gentlemen. I was just watching, listening or watching the Drink Champs interview that Kanye they just released a new Drink Champs interview with Kanye. And Kanye is wearing a hat that says 2024, and he's like, I legally can't say anything, but basically he's saying he's gonna run for president in 2024 because he feels like what people want more than anything is him versus Donald Trump. I don't know. I never wanted that. I've never asked for that. I've never once been like, you know what would be dope? A fucking presidential race for who has say of our fucking well-being, if you will, if you believe in it. I want the choices to be Donald Trump or Kanye West. How's the best case scenario, Joe Biden? Joe. Like, I never asked for that. We're not going to talk about that much here. It's just that right before I recorded this, I was listening to that podcast, Drink Champs. So, yay, 2024 is what's happening. That interview is kind of wild from what I saw so far. He basically said Drake has been fucking Kris Jenner. Like, he talks about that a few times. It's pretty random. I always thought Drake was a pedophile, but it turns out he likes older women. In this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about Alexa Grasso versus Viviane Araújo, which was the main event in last night's UFC Vegas 62, as I would like to call it. And the I say the most anticipated fight card of the year, most anticipated fight. We have UFC 280. I feel like I fucked it up there at some point. I fucked up the whole thing. UFC 280. Very sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Headlined by Charles Du Bronx Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. You can tell by my enthusiasm. If you guys have been listening to this podcast from the fucking beginning, you would have known that when Khabib was still the champion, I picked Charles Oliveira to be the next champion. I thought Charles was going to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. So we'll talk about that later. Also on that card, we have Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. If you guys are on Twitter right now, fuck Jesus, Jermaine. Get off of Twitter. Apologize and just delete all those tweets. Jesus. You're turning the entire MMA world against you right now. Fuck Andrew Tate. I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. I've never given this guy attention, but if his views are anything like what I'm seeing in this bullshit with Aljo, fuck that dude. And Aljo, just delete those pictures with him. Do what you can to get that shit off the internet. Like, don't agree with any opinions this psychopath is saying, but you are turning the MMA world against you. But I'm still here for you and all the Jermaines. I'm here, Aljo. We're going to talk about that fight later. We're also going to talk about Petr Yan versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. What is going to happen when the Sugar Show comes to Abu Dhabi, Fight Island, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of bangers on this card. We got Beneil Dariush versus Mateusz Gamrot. That's a fucking banger right there. Also, what we're going to talk about is Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Is the hype real for Sean Brady, or is it not? And does that mean that Bilal Muhammad is now ready for a title shot himself? I don't believe. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. I'll leave, if you guys are watching this shit, well, anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, but I got the @ above my logo here in the video. I was like, why didn't I put some text up there? Let's try to improve as we go. If you guys are, I'll talk about my hair in a second. If you guys want to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe. It'd be so amazing. Yeah, I'd really appreciate that. Just show the world you love this podcast anywhere that you're listening to it. Share this podcast. Let people know that they need to fuck with the Babylon 5 pod. If you guys believe me, if you guys want to watch me game, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can cop some merchandise. Head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod and you can be my patron today. I say patreon.com/Babylon5pod. If I did not say that, let me just repeat it. I was like, what did I just say there? Maybe I just repeated it. Whatever. So, before we get into UFC Vegas 72, I'm sitting here with this fucking wig on here. I actually got a wig on. This is, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you probably like, what's up with this fucking dude's hair? Pardon me. And here I am. Sorry, I had to just run to the bathroom real quick. Been drinking a lot of water lately. But if you guys are watching online anywhere, you guys are probably like, what's up with this fucking dude's hair? Yeah, it's a wig. This is actually the wig that I bought. I'm going to Denver in a couple weeks here. If you guys are long listeners to this podcast, then you know I likes Denver quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen. I likes Denver quite a bit. It's probably my favorite city I've ever been to. The vibe is just way better than anywhere I've ever been. I feel more like home. It feels more like home in Denver than I feel like at home when I'm fucking here in Milwaukee. So, I'm going to Denver for Halloween, and this is one of the wigs that I have for one of the various costumes, because as you guys should know, I'm real big on Halloween. I got a couple costumes for this. This wig here, if you guys want to know is a part of my costume. I'm going to an Adam Sandler themed Halloween party. So for this, with this wig here, I'm going to be Little Nicky, which was one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. But yeah, I got the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? I got the whole shit. I hooked it up. It's gonna be a pretty solid costume for at least for the Adam Sandler party. I feel like outside of the Adam Sandler party with this fucking random ass wig on, I just seem like some kind of emo kid. You know? I just seem like an emo kid. But yeah, that's why I'm wearing this wig. This is my wig for my Little Nicky costume. And I just, last minute before I recorded, was like, that looks different. So I'm throwing this wig on before we go for no other reason other than it looks different content-wise. I don't like for these videos to look the same, you know, week after week on my Instagram shit. So here we go with a little bit of different looks with this random ass wig. UFC Vegas 62. A lot of good fights on that card. If you guys did not watch UFC Vegas 62, please go and check that out. Why not? That's what we're talking about here. First fight on the card, Mike Jackson got sent to the fucking Shadow Realm. As I said last week, I don't fucks with Mike Jackson. What he did to CM Punk in his second fight was so gross to me. The way he was just out there trying to embarrass Punk was just foul. If you feel like you can win the fight, finish the fight then. Mickey Gall didn't go out there and just like, let me just fucking give him a wet willy, my nigga. He gave him a wet willy. Are you kidding me right now? Like, it was foul. So, to see Mike Jackson get sent to the fucking Shadow Realm at the start of this card, my hat's off. I don't even know the name of the guy he fought, to be honest with you. I don't remember. Whatever it was, my hat's off to you, my guy. Thank you. But in the main event, you got Alexa Grasso here defeating Viviane Araújo. And I felt like this was a pretty decent fight. It showed that both ladies could definitely go 5 rounds. I think this is Grasso's first 5-round fight. Dude, I love her swagger. If you see this picture here, just when she comes forward with her hands up, just a great, like, I feel like, man, like, she's very successful in MMA. She was great when she was taken down. She knew how to get up off of the ground, get out of those bad positions, and get back up and, like, work her boxing game. Her boxing was great. Araújo, you know, when she was landing, you know, she clearly had more power, but Grasso was just the technique and her grit. She's built Mexican tough, dude. Shout out to Alexa Grasso, fighting out of Guadalajara. She's a beast, man. Her swagger in there. She's been steadily improving since she came into the UFC here. She's on, I believe, a 4-fight win streak now in the flyweight division. She does not believe she's earned a title fight yet. And I would agree with that assessment. I believe she should fight the winner of next week's fight between Caitlin Chookagian and Manon Fiorot. I don't believe Chookagian, even if Chookagian is victorious in that fight, I don't believe she's itching too bad to fight Valentina Shevchenko. I don't believe she is itching too bad. But what I like the boxing. I like the quick, like, head kicks that Grasso was throwing out there. I like Grasso a lot in here. Viviane Araújo is good. Is really good. And Grasso showed her level here, man. She showed how good she's improved, how much she's improved in the grappling, defensively, offensively, able to get out of those clinching exchanges. Grasso looked amazing here. So I want to see Grasso versus the winner of Chukagian Faro next week at UFC 280. Whoever wins that fight fights Grasso. That's your reward for winning that fight is Alexa Grasso. Now, as far as Viviane Araujo, who lost, she should fight the loser of Manon Fiorot versus Caitlin Chukagian, depending on how that fight goes. Because if Chukagian just goes out there and mollywops Fiorot, then I don't believe Fiorot's next fight should be someone like Viviane Araujo. And I think it's very well possible that Chukagian, the much more experienced, the fighter who's fought more women at this level, she's fought Shevchenko. So someone who has fought women at this level could go out there and just dominate Manon Fiorot. So it's very well possible. So depending if Chukagian wins that fight, depending on how Fiorot would lose, then I don't know if I would want to see Fiorot versus Araujo. But if Chukagian loses, regardless, I would love to see Chukagian versus Araujo. Regardless, but yeah, for me it depends on how. If Chukagian wins that fight, me wanting to see Araujo versus Fiorot depends on how that fight goes. So there's ifs when it comes to that fight, but Chukagian has proven herself to be a top 5 fighter in that division, so it's not really too far-fetched to say that even if she loses here to the number 7 ranked Fiorot, that she would drop too far. I don't believe she would drop too far. And I'm not so sure that Fiorot would drop too far depending on how that fight goes, you know what I'm saying? And we have the most anticipated fight for me, ladies and gentlemen, all year. The champion has a name, and it is Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus, he's defending his belt versus Islam Makhachev out of Dagestan. And as I said earlier in this podcast, as I said a while ago, if you guys were listening to this podcast, before Oliveira won the belt, I said that he would be the next lightweight champion. I thought that he would defeat Khabib before Khabib retired. But Khabib retired. He didn't want that smoke. I feel like he retired like days after Oliveira tweeted him. Like, Oliveira beat Tony Ferguson, then he tweeted Khabib like, yo, I think I'm here. I'm ready to fight you. I can't wait to fight you in the future. And then Khabib immediately retired. I got this picture here because with Conor McGregor, because I feel like whoever wins this fight between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira might just win the Conor McGregor sweepstakes. I don't believe that if Makhachev is victorious here, that Conor wants that smoke. I don't believe that's his next fight. Conor's talking about fighting at welterweight. Is he calling out Khamzat Chimaev? He's not mentioning his fucking name, all right? He said that rat lip shit that one time, and that's just him feeling like he had to say something. But if Oliveira is victorious here, I hope he then wins the Conor McGregor sweepstakes. You also, I threw in this little image package here. Alexander Volkanovski, who is officially the backup fighter. He will fly to Abu Dhabi. He will weigh in. And if any of these gentlemen cannot make weight or for whatever reason they can't fight, Alexander Volkanovski is there to step in to fight for the lightweight champion. I mean, it's the championship. It is. I did say Do Bronx is the champion, but if you guys don't know, he did not make weight in his last fight, so the belt is currently vacant. It's up for grabs, man. Whoever could climb that ladder rung by rung by fucking rung, and just bring down that fucking belt, you will be the champion. If you win this ladder match, you will be UFC champion. And my pick, who does your boy pick for this fight? Obviously, I'm going with Charles Oliveira. Alright? Dude, I'm not even sure if this fight makes it out of one round, and that's not even like... It's not like that I feel like he's just so much better than Islam, but it's like from what I've been hearing from Islam, what I've been hearing from Habib was like, oh, you want to know what Charles is going to do in this fight? He's going to ride him like a horse. He was like, this man, he tapped out all these times, blah, blah, blah. He's just saying all this bullshit. All this bullshit that tells me Islam will have no reservations to go to the ground with Oliveira. Habib says he's going to ride him like a horse. He has no reservations about going to the ground. I feel like Charles is night and day. There's no comparison. It's night and day. Much better than Islam in the stand-up, all right? Islam can strike, but I don't feel like he's anywhere near the level of a Charles Oliveira. Yeah, he's got great wrestling. But when I just watched him versus Dan Hooker, they just uploaded that on YouTube. And it's like, if he was able to if he was able to get Oliveira to the ground like he did with Dan Hooker in that fight, I in no way feel like you're not going to be able to just hold Oliveira there. It's not going to happen. It would never happen. And he just fucking Kimura'd my nigga. It was like this, like, it was like Hooker had no answer for that. It's not going to be the same. I don't feel like he's ever really faced somebody with the jiu-jitsu acumen of a Charles Oliveira. So I feel like because of that, because he doesn't respect the skill of Oliveira on the ground, he will be finished. He's going to put himself in a bad position because they're of the thought that Charles isn't as good as other people think he is. And I think he's in for a rude awakening when we have should be and still, but it will be and new two-time UFC lightweight champion Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira, ladies and gentlemen. That is my pick for the main event. And in the co-main event, ladies and gentlemen, Jermaine Sterling defends his belt for all the Jermaines versus TJ Dillashaw. As I was saying, man, Aljo, it's some gross shit I seen. Aljo was agreeing. No, actually, if y'all want to go on Twitter and see the whole Andrew Tate thing, I don't want to say something here and make assumptions. Maybe I'm reading, maybe I'm not reading. I haven't seen everything. As I said, I don't know who this Andrew Tate guy is. I'm coming in and seeing a few tweets. I'm seeing people that I follow being hurt by what is being said here, and I don't know. So if y'all want to head to Twitter and check out the whole situation with Jermaine Sterling, y'all can do that yourselves. Moving on. Jermaine Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw, UFC 280. I believe that Aljo will outclass TJ Dillashaw in this match. I feel like if TJ is somehow able to keep it standing, then it's actually 50-50 at that point. But I feel like Aljo will have no trouble taking TJ's back, taking him to the ground. He'll have no trouble with the grappling here. I feel like he's just so much better than TJ in this one. I feel like TJ got his ass beat against Corey Sandhagen in his very last fight, and he got gifted a victory. He shouldn't even be here. He shouldn't even be here. There's no way in my mind that I see TJ Dillashaw winning this fight. Unless Aljo comes out and twists his ankle or some shit. Makes a misstep. Aljo has to make 1,000 mistakes, in my mind, for TJ Dillashaw to win this fight. He's just not that good, in my opinion. He's good, but he's not that good. He's not gonna... If you put him against Petr Yan, I think Yan destroys TJ Dillashaw. I think he's just a much better fighter all around than TJ Dillashaw, both Yan and Sterling. So I don't give TJ... What is he going to do against this? If he ends up in that position? Nothing. If TJ ends up with Aljo on his back, it's over. All he's going to do is wait for it to be fucking over. All right? I give this man no chance against Aljo. Jermaine Sterling is going to win, and still, for all the Jermaines, ladies and gentlemen, for all the Jermaines. Also on this card, we have Petr Yan, the aforementioned Petr Yan, Petr Yan, however the fuck, Peter, however you pronounce his name, Petr Yan versus Sugar Sean O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen. O'Malley 15-1 and Yan 16-3. A lot of people, when this match was announced, I think it's just given the rankings. I don't even know if O'Malley is ranked at all. And Yan is ranked number 1. Yan is the number 1 ranked fighter right now. And I don't even know if O'Malley's ranked. If he is, he's like number 10 or some shit like that. So everybody's like, yo, this is a mismatch. This is a terrible matchup for my boy. I don't know, man. I think Sean has the skill here to definitely defeat Petr Yan. He's just going to be so much faster than him. It's only 3 rounds. Like, it's just a 3-round fight. He's going to be so much faster than him, I believe. I could be absolutely wrong there. But I think O'Malley will be so much faster, and his striking is just... He's going to be able to set these traps, and we have seen a mental lapse in the fight IQ of Petr Yan, Piotr Yan. We've seen it. I'm going against the grain here, if you guys don't know. I'm rolling with Sugar Sean O'Malley to upset Petr Yan. I say the one big flaw that I've seen, I forget what I was watching. It was some shit I seen online, but it was claiming that 74% of the leg strikes have landed on Sean O'Malley. Like, when you look at that and it was just like a clip of all these people throwing the strikes when he checks them and yada, yada, yada. It's like, fuck, was the Chito Vera victory really a fluke? I know a lot of people, that's the big argument there. But, like, if you look at the fact that he doesn't do a good job defending leg kicks, and it has continued, that trend has continued. Munoz landed the most leg kicks on him out of all of his opponents, which was his very last fight. This trend has continued. So if there's any real route to victory for Yan, I'd say it's exploring those leg kicks, because he's definitely going to want to slow down the movement of a Sean O'Malley, who I feel like is going to be better than him in Abu Dhabi. I'm rolling with Sugar Sean O'Malley to welcome Petr Yan to the Sugar Show, ladies and gentlemen. What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about Beneil Dariush. versus Mateusz Gamrot. All right, this is a lot of fight right here. I think this could end up being fight of the night. I think it's going to last much longer than the main event. Potentially much longer than Aljo versus Dillashaw. I believe this will be the fight of the night right here, ladies and gentlemen. Beneil Dariush, upset. Thought he was going to be the backup fighter for the main event, but turns out that the backup fighter is Alexander Volkanovski. He thought he was going to be a backup fighter. I guess he said he was told that, but then the theories are that he was told that from Ali, of course. Shout out to Ali. I know people hate on Ali, but he's probably the best manager in all of MMA. But here we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Beneil Dariush. There's a lot of fight here, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this is going to steal the show as fight of the night. And who am I rolling with? Rest in peace to Bob Saget. Who you rolling with? Bob Saget, the illest motherfucker in a cardigan sweater. Who am I rolling with? In Mateusz Gamrot versus Beneil Dariush. Gamrot is coming off a victory over someone. If you guys are a long-time listener, first-time caller, then you would know that I fucking love Arman Tsarukyan. I still think Arman Tsarukyan will be a future UFC champion. He's a beast. And Gamrot went toe-to-toe with that man. They were so even. I feel like I scored it for Arman, but also I'm like biased. I fucking love Arman Tsarukyan. So I scored it for Arman. It was very controversial. A lot of people feel like it could have gone either way. I believe the Weasel did a breakdown, and based off of the scoring, Tsarukyan should have won the fight. That's neither here nor there. It was a great fucking fight. Great fucking fight. I think Gamrot will be successful here. How good he looked against Arman Tsarukyan showed me a lot. I think he's just going to be better than Dariush here. Dariush looked good against Tony Ferguson, but fuck, by this point, I'd look good against Tony Ferguson. Goddamn. I'm just playing. I'd look terrible against Tony. Finish me in a few seconds. I'm going with Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot has, he showed me in his UFC fights here, and just especially against Arman Tsarukyan, that he's just such a high level, I think, and he can do so much from everywhere. So much from everywhere. And Beneil is good. This is going to be a great fight here. As I said, this could be fight of the night. I'm rolling with Mateusz Gamrot to get the W in this one. But mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lot of fight here. All right, this is a whole lot of fight. This is going to be fight of the night here, ladies and gentlemen. Also on this card, we have Remember the Name, Bilal Muhammad taking on Sean Brady. I am not sold on Sean Brady. He won his last fight against Chiesa, which made no sense to me as someone who refers to what I believe I understand of the scoring criteria, which tells me damage trumps control time. And when I say yo, he should have lost against Chiesa, people were like, what? He had 15 minutes of control time. But you only factor that in if the damage is even. Well, no, if the damage and it's the last thing. Everything in that fight has to be bone even. Just fucking even. I was going to say bone dry for some reason, but it just has to be even. And then if everything is even, then you're well, Now we have to go off of control time. But you don't go off of control time unless everything else is even. Unless everything else in that fight has to cancel each other out before you even mention control time. So it's crazy to me that people usually like, no, man, he controlled him, but did he fuck him up? Did he fuck Chiesa up? No, he held him down, dude. He didn't do much damage at all. Only person that was actually doing damage in that fight was Michael Chiesa. So I'm not sold on Sean Brady, but I am sold on Bilal Muhammad, who looked phenomenal against Vicente Luque when everybody thought Vicente Luque was a world beater, future champion, potentially. And I think Bilal is going to end that hype train of Sean Brady. That's my personal opinion. I believe that Bilal, who's going to be cornered by Habib in this fight, I believe he will just be better. He's just going to be better than Sean Brady everywhere. Brady's going to rely on his wrestling as he should. It's his bread and butter. Why wouldn't you go back to what you're good at? But I just believe Bilal will have enough skill to not shut down his offensive wrestling and put Brady into some uncomfortable positions, and Brady will receive his first loss here. I believe that's what will happen. I would love to be proven wrong. Prove me wrong, Brady. Show me that you're fucking much better than I feel I've seen in your fights so far in the UFC. I love being wrong. I only go off of what I think I'm seeing, what I think I understand. Try to judge these fights by what I believe I understand to be read in the scoring criteria. But especially when these fighters come out of here, if I think Caitlin Chukagian should easily defeat a 9-1 Manon Fiorot, and Fiorot goes out there and dusts her off, then I'm happy about that. I'm happy that happened. That means they're improving, or at least, you know what I'm saying. At least they're better than what I thought. There's something that I didn't see. I love being wrong here. But this is a fucking dope card here. You got Mahmoud Muradov fighting Cairo Borralho. It's gonna be a banger. Muhammad Makayev versus Malcolm Gordon. I think I meant to talk about Muhammad Makayev and then that Muhammad Muradov fight. They're back to back. You got two Muhammads. You got three Muhammads on one card. I guess they are in Abu Dhabi. It's a lot of Muhammads. Oh yeah, they do, because they're right over there. This is all the Muslim sounding names are here. You got Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus Omar Gadziev, Armin Petrosyan, Magomed Mustaev. They're all here, ladies and gentlemen. The gang's all here for UFC 280 coming out of Abu Dhabi. Should be a great card. This card is stacked. Alright, it's fucking stacked. I'm hyped for this card. I probably won't watch it live. It's like an early morning card. What time? If you guys are hearing that for the first time, you're welcome. But this is an early card. The prelims start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Because it's in Abu Dhabi, and the main card starts at 1 p.m. So I very well likely could miss this entire card live. So I probably won't be live tweeting. I'll be pretty busy. But yeah. It's an early card if you guys don't know, UFC 280, so set your alarms or some shit. Set a reminder that on Saturday the card starts at 9 o'clock in the morning if you are so inclined to watch some early fights. I love when the fights are early, but I hate when your boy can't be there to watch them. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon 5. I was trying to point to the socials there and I fucked up. I was like, when I end, I'm just going to throw that picture up there. If you guys want to check out Still Bitter on all streaming platforms, go ahead and check it out. It looks just like that face. My face right there. Without this long ass hair. I don't know how to comb white hair, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to comb white hair, this wig. When you're gonna see this, like, yo, this shit's all over the place. You could at least. Is it nappy? Do white people get naps? It's just messy. I don't know how to comb white hair. As I thought, I was like, man, I need to comb it. And then I was like, how do you comb white hair? That was my next thought. So it's gonna be messy until then. Because it never occurred to me of how to comb white hair. But if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button, I'd appreciate it so much. Share, subscribe, do the whole thing. Why not? Check it out. Yeah, I threw a check it out there. Shout out to Your Mama's House podcast. I've been listening to a lot of that shit lately. Not a big fan of Christina P, but but I've been listening to that shit a lot lately. If you guys believe me, if you trust me, believe in me, then you guys should follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can cop some merchandise by going to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Negro, be my patrons. Head on over to Patreon. Oh, I meant to say Niji. I throw that Negro out there from time to time, and I don't mean to anymore. I try not to say it, but I say nigga like 1,000 times, and then I judge myself for saying Negro one time. Don't just be my Niji. Be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod so you can be my patrons today. This has been episode 165. Yay 2024, ladies and gentlemen. I doubt I'll vote for him. I mean, maybe. We'll see. I feel like it's all a joke. If it somehow actually came down to Trump versus Ye, if that was the unfortunate truth where either one of them niggas might be the president, then I might have to vote for Ye. I might have to vote for Ye, but I really hope it don't come down to that. That would really grind my gears if that was the option there. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.